So hello everyone, this is Tooba, and I am very grateful that all of you joined us in this webinar. Um Thank you for that. And let me quickly get started with a very brief introduction of myself and about my company. So I'm representing my company, Ontime Training and Consultancy Services. Basically, I'm the founder, owner, and lead trainer of On-Time Training and Consultancy Services. On-Time Training is a professional training and consultancy setup. So we are professional training and mentoring providers of portfolio program and project management. We are professional trainers of PMI certification, including PfMP, PgMP, PMP, ACP, PBA, RMP, etc., and the other certifications by PMI as well. And we are also consultancy provider for the corporates as well as for the individuals. So we do provide PMO consultancy and business process automation and project and program standardization and the processes related to that, as well as the career counseling and career related mentoring to the individuals as well. So if you think that you are looking for any of such services, I'm going to share the company channels over the chat, and you can contact us. Regarding myself, my name is Tooba Mirza. Like most of you know me already, and I'm based in Pakistan. I have a professional career in a software industry. So I've worked for 16 to 17 years in the software industry of Pakistan. And I have started my career as software engineer, and then I gradually progressed towards the project management and the program management and portfolio management in the same domain. And on the certification side, I am PfMP, PgMP, PMP, which means that I'm triple P certified by PMI. And I also have RMP, PSM, and PMI ATP batch for PMP trainings as well. I actually have shifted towards this training and mentoring career in 2022. And since then, I have been full-time in this setup. So this is like a brief introduction about myself. Coming towards the agenda of this webinar, we are here to discuss the success story as well as PfMP journey of our mentee Shehbaaz Khan. Hi Shehbaaz, how are you doing?
Hi Tooba, I'm good. How are you?
Yes, so as the first step, Shehbaaz, I would like you to introduce yourself and tell us a brief about yourself, and then we will move with the agenda of the webinar.
Great. Hello to everyone. Good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. My name is Shehbaaz Khan. I live in Pune, India. To give a background about my professional career, I started with customer experience, or call it a customer service, and moved into a technological role. So I started working as a virtualization expert and moved into a solution role, especially looking into the vendors like Microsoft, Red Hat, VMware, where I acquired certain certifications like OCIDP, BCA, DSP, Lenovo data center expert. And I was always keen towards working on the account management role, wherein I can, play multiple hats, work towards a particular strategy that involves the financial management and the customer experience, all favors to it. So that gave me the opportunity to start working with like this as my current organization. Here we handle a sub portfolio of the account management, and that inspired me of learning something new, because we're always around strategies, we are always around governance. We try to mitigate risk, we try to build a contingency plan, and then we perform a lot of performance matrix that we build for ourselves and for the customers. That made me think about why not learn a framework, right? Why not learn the basics and the best practices that an institute like PMI offers. And that helped me to get in touch with Tooba. She really gave me a nice introduction of what it can do and how it can help your career to build and think about the future. So that's the overall background.
Very nice, Shehbaaz. And you have been like one of those students who I would always be proud of. You did it like really well and like in the right way. I would say that you did it in the right way. So, as you have already like you are already done with this, so how do you think that whatever you have learned in the name of standardization and the processes in portfolio management, how do you think that it's going to help you in your professional career, in your job, like going forward, because you were already into like something very similar in your current role and in your job, so how you are foreseeing it, how you are going to help improving yourself and your organization with that PfMP? What is your plan?
I think it's a good question, Tooba. The most important part here is the PFP covers the five important processes that every portfolio goes through.
Mm-hmm.
You work on the strategy, right? And then you monitor the strategy, that is your governance. At the same time, how do you monitor? You perform, you build smart KPIs, smart metrics, right?
Very true.
And in such an environment like mine, communication plays a very important role because you have two kind of stakeholders, right? You classify it internal or external stakeholders. So you have to work with both. Learning the communication matrix, the stakeholder matrix, understand why the register is so important. Why do you have to build a communication strategy, maintain it, update it, right? At the same time, when you work towards risk management aspect, that can be again tangible risk, intangible risk that you have to decide, you have to register, and you're going to keep on understanding who can own it, who can update it, and who can resolve it. Right? So that is why the PFM is really helping it implement those practices. We all do that. We don't, probably build some documents or we don't maintain it. So getting everything together in a single place, I think PFMP teaches us the tools, techniques that we can.
Okay, yes, that makes like very much sense. And Shehbaaz, you are one of those PfMP candidates who actually like jumped into this PMI world directly with PfMP. You did not come that usual path of PMP and then PgMP and then like PfMP, which makes you triple P certified. So how was that experience? Because I'm sure those who are aspiring for that, like they probably would have this question in mind, and this is like one of those very frequent questions that I get from my prospective students, that can I do PfMP without PMP? Can I do PfMP without PgMP? And what if I do it? How would I be able to like overcome all those gaps that probably I had in my project management or program management career? So how did you find like it in your case, like doing PfMP directly without doing the standardization in project management and program management?
Well, it's an interesting question. Every certification have their own skills, right? The way it fit to your job, the roles and responsibilities, and fits to your skills. So a PMP is more applicable to person who is really, into project management domain, and he applies a lot of skills over there. Person who's working in program management with the PGMP part plays a very important role. For me, PfMP was most suitable because the areas that I spoke, right? I'm always working on around that, and I want to aspire. In fact, this is what I want to help my organization understand and build on. Right? So that is one of the reasons why I did not go through the usual path and directly came into PfMP certification. Of course, eligibility criteria shared, requisites to be met, and so on. So that was most suitable.
Okay, and while you were doing like while you were learning those concepts of portfolio management and those processes and those tools and techniques by PMI for portfolio management, you never got that feel that probably you should have done that PMP or PGMP or probably any other certification first before coming to this, because people actually get that impression that they probably would be missing something if they directly jump to the PfMP path. So I personally never felt in your case, but what was your perspective in that? Did you ever feel that you are missing something by directly attempting for PfMP?
If I be honest, no, because if you remember, when we were going through all our training journey, a lot of tools and techniques that we spoke about, a lot of matrices that can help. Right? I was able to relate to it because I use it on my practical world.
Yeah. Yeah, like
so I do not feel like, okay, I should have done a PMP or a PGMP. No, I do not feel that.
okay. Right. Okay, and you did your PF, so you came to me by the end of September, and you did your PfMP in the first week of December. So you almost did that in like around 2.5 months or so, or 2 months, I would say. So, like, did you find it like easy to do in that time, or how was your journey in that? Because usually people think that probably they would be needing many months to uh, get ready for the exam, and it's going to be a very difficult journey, or portfolio management is a like is a big deal. It is a big deal actually, but as far as the exam prep is concerned, people usually think that probably they would need I don't know how many months to get ready for that. So what do you want to tell them? Because there are few people, actually not few people, there are many people over the in the audience section who are actively preparing for their exam. So what would you like to tell them, that probably how many hours or how many days they should be allocating for the preparation actively?
Well, I'll tell you with an example that I have, right? The first training I did for PMI was an ACP training, right, that I did last year. I couldn't complete that, and that is a lesson learned. Right? The moment you lose your study, the materials that always in your mind, right, that go with while you do the course. When I did the PfMP, I decided that the moment I complete my training, I'm gonna spend some time learning what I've learned and try to map it somewhere which always stays in my mind. Right? You can't just mug up things. Sometimes you have to relate what you've learned to your practical experience. So that really helped me to prepare. It's not easy, trust me. Even if whatever exams you did, it's never easy. You do have to put a lot of hard work to it. Me learning was I'm more of an organized person. I like to organize my work and my studies. So the materials that I learned, I put my own flavor to it. Right, I built a lot of tables. I learning about ITTOs, right, learning about tools and techniques that relates to different processes. The entire journey was not that strict. It was a lot of hard work. I moved from a place, Rajasthan to Maharashtra,
Mhm.
and trying to adjust to a new location also added some inspired me to do some more hard work, right? So I think that really helped me was my dedication, that I need to do it. I was looking to get the exam scheduled by November end. I couldn't do that, so December was the closest I could do, and that's how I got it done.
Yes. So, if like just approximately, if you want to give some advice on how one should be like managing their times, or how much hours they should be like allocating to this, what would you say? Probably in a week, how many number of hours one should be like actively and dedicatedly as allocating to the study? Because I think actively you spend 2 to 3 weeks for the preparation. Like in the last like probably mid-November till late November, I think you were actively preparing it. Before that, it was like just usual study in the classroom and something like that. So what would you like to address? Because people actually want to know that they actually
Mhm.
struggle in managing their work and their families and their personal commitments with this thing, and they at times they just lose the momentum and they just get lost, and at times they just leave it as well. So I have those students as well who like they were not able to get along with this thing. So what would you like to suggest them, how they should be like keeping up with the momentum?
I think my suggestion would be, give at least 30 minutes to an hour to go through what you've studied. If you're currently in that journey of going through the sessions, give
Mhm.
30 minutes to 1 hour to understand what you've studied. Every day when you look at things that will help you memorize, it's just like a snapshot. What I did was I did a printout of my own flavor. As I said, I built my own materials. I did a printout, I kept in front of me. Even if I was working, I was looking at it. So that really helped me. The other one is, do remember when you do mocks, right? You will have to spend 3 to 4 hours completing the questions. At the same time, the answers that are coming is wrong. You need to understand why those came wrong. Right? So you have to spend another 30 to 45 minutes to it. So suggestion would be utilize some weekends. Of course, you'll have some personal life, but give it a break for some time because this is a very critical exam. It's not something that you just go and learn a definition and you answer it. It comes with a practical experience. There'll be scenario-based questions. Mocks will help you to relate your what you have studied into certain scenarios. But when you give your exam, it's all your practical experience and the thought that comes to your mind. How will this work? Okay, if I act or if I wear a hat of a portfolio manager, I need to answer that way. I cannot just answer based on what I'm doing correctly. So you have to give some time. Weekends, 1 30 minutes to 1 hour per day.
Yeah, very true. And if I would like want to summarize it in one sentence, like the training and the concepts just give you the basics of that, but connecting everything together, which is the concept of integration in the world of PMI, is very important. And that is like what PMI actually tests in the exam, that how are you able to connect certain domains and certain processes, and like just putting it in the real time scenarios. This is what is being tested. So at times my students ask me that am I going to get like the same scenarios or the same mocks in my real exam? So I just tell them, no, it is like you are doing PfMP, and it's not like an academic exam where you are going to just get like something that you have studied in that class. It's not going to be like this, but we help you in providing the right concepts, the right connectivity, the right perspective of things. And then with that, every scenario, every question in the exam, you will be able to answer. This is like what we offer. We do not offer like, okay, these are 500 questions, you just do it, and out of that 170 is going to come in the exam. Of course, for those who are like new to this, let me tell you that there are only 1,315 professionals, PfMP professionals worldwide. So PfMP is definitely a big deal. If you get this credential, you are going to be like worldwide recognized as among those 1,300 professionals. And accordingly, you can think of it as something which is not going to be an easy deal for you. You need to be like you need to have the right experience, as well as the skill set, as well as the material and the practice as well, and the right dedication and connectivity of the things as well. All right. So coming towards your PfMP exam experience, like I said, this is that was the first time you attempted any PMI exam. So how did you find your overall exam experience? Like maybe tell us something about the tips and some tricks that you adopted while you were attempting the exam, maybe time management, or how did you deal with the pressure and like all of that, and probably some important concepts or some important topics that you came across while you were attempting, because everyone's exam is different than the others. So how was your experience in that case?
Well, my experience is before the exam, I took a 1 week leave. Okay, I'll be very honest. I wanted to study. I wanted to dedicate myself into what I've learned, complete all the mocks at least once, twice. Very important. Understand where questions are being wrong, not just kind of mug it up, but try to understand why these things are coming as wrong. And Tooba has really helped me. Her materials comes with not only about the correction and why is it correct, like the explanation to it really matters. Overall experience, I would say before the exam, 12 hours prior, I stopped studying, and that's a recommendation from Tuba and of course from Chirantan as well when I spoke with him. So I decided, okay, that's a timestamp I have to stop. And when I was appearing for the exam, that was around like 8 in the morning, and it was challenging because I usually do an afternoon shift, so getting 8 o'clock in the morning was not that easy. But when I appeared for the exam, I knew it's a 4 hours, and that 4 hours really depends on how I control it, right? There are questions you'll be lost. Recommendation is mark it for review. Don't spend more time to it. Go for the next question, but make sure that you're not marking more than like 5 to 7 questions per review, because at the end you may not have the time to go and revisit those questions. So go with your guts, go with your knowledge that you've gained, and wear the portfolio manager hat. Don't wear any other hat that you have for your job role. that really helps you to complete your exam. And that had really helped me too, right? Even it was nerve wrenching for me too. When I was appearing for exam, I saw a question, I said, okay, there are many questions that doesn't come from your, mock test. Maximum, I would say, doesn't come from the mock test, but does give you, something that you can relate to what you have studied from, right? So that is the overall experience, I would say.
Actually, I've given very good advices. So I would highly recommend these advices to those who are actively preparing, or probably they have booked their exam, or those who are willing to book the exam in January or by mid-February. These are good advices because, and of course, if you are my student, I'm going to give all those advices to you as well when your exam is when you are about to sit in the exam. But when we are in the exam room, the experience actually starts from there. So no matter how well you are prepared, like there is going to be some nervousness and anxiety and that exam fever, which is going to be like a very usual thing for everyone. Even I experienced that as well, although I'm very pro in all this, but I've experienced that as well. So everyone's exam experience is different. So that's why we share that with you, so that you learn from that, because learning from others' experience is one thing that PMI highly focuses on. Right. And there are few members in this group of audience who are very new, probably because I don't know them personally. So probably they are new to the PMI world, and they are probably new to this PfMP as well. So to those, let me help you understanding what portfolio management is and what PMI offers in the curriculum of PfMP. Portfolio management is a concept where multiple projects, programs, and operations and attempts of portfolios as well are executed under one umbrella, which is termed as portfolio, and that portfolio actually connects you to the organizational goals and objectives. Like whatever you're doing in the portfolio, like needs to be aligned with the organizational objectives and the strategic alignment. So this is the concept of portfolio, which helps you in deciding that which projects and programs you should be executing in your organization as well as under that department or the portfolio. And the curriculum that PMI has suggested in this regard is in 5 domains: strategic management of portfolio, governance management, performance management, communication management, and risk management. So whatever you are doing in a department or in a business function or in a portfolio, you are working in any of these domains, or probably in a group of these domains at a particular point in time. So the strategic management actually connects your portfolio objectives to the strategic objectives of the organizations and helps you in defining the value delivery and the business angle of your portfolio, both tangible and intangible. Governance is a concept which keeps an oversight as well as going into the detailed planning based on your strategic objectives and keeping an alignment and optimization and decision making and everything that you are doing in the portfolio is in alignment with the strategic objectives. Then comes the performance, which is like measuring what you are doing is as per the expectation or not, and the concept of how much value delivery you have given to the organization with your portfolio. Communication and risk, I hope everyone understands, like whenever there are members, communication comes in. So the strategic objectives in alignment with the communication goals, and like who needs to know what and at what time, that needs to be covered under the communication. And of course, when you are working in a domain, you may come across risk as well. So risk management deals with the portfolio level risk as well as those risks which are escalated from the component level areas. So broadly, project and program management is at the tactical level and like the doing part, and portfolio management comes like a level above, which is like what you need to do, the right selection of the work or the right doing of the work, right? So until and unless you don't have the right work selected with you, you probably will not be doing the project and program management in the right way. So to get your project and program management in the right way, it's necessary that your portfolio management is being done in the right way, and that connects you to the broader organizational objectives. So this is what we learn and help our students with in the portfolio management domain. I hope this helped, and moving forward with the agenda of the webinar. So I hope those who know about PfMP by PMI, they must be aware that there's a very holistic and I would say critical application process that would make you eligible to sit in the exam. Otherwise, you are not eligible to sit in the exam. So how has been the application approval process for you, Shehbaaz? Application creation as well as approval, because this is like one area where most of the people struggle.
Right. I think this is the most important part of your PfMP application, exam or qualification, because you have to get your experience right into a document. Needs to be more data driven, right? I think that was possible because of Tuba. Her experience, her knowledge, and the techniques. I think that really helped to define that application form. I've learned from other people I've spoken with that the applications or the time has really extended because it couldn't go through. But the way Tuba has helped, I think that is the reason why it got approved. It did take some time because of the load and so on, but eventually it was approved and helped me to schedule the exam. So I would say it was smooth because of you, of course.
Yeah, thank you, Shehbaaz. But the application is very comprehensive, I would say, and at times, not at times like it. This is like a very frequent thing that I come across. Of course, not with my students because I help them personally, but those who are probably just taking the coaching or guidance from me, and they do application by themselves. So at times they just get the rejection from PMI on the application, attempts in the first approval or attempts in the second approval. And then they get worried because in case your panel reject your application, then you get just one chance from them to make it correct and resubmit it. And otherwise, probably your exam fees will be forfeited by PMI. So you need to be very careful when you are in your application creation, like drafting, and those who are doing it by themselves or who are willing to do it by themselves. A word of advice is to include examples and real life scenarios and metrics and numbers, because PMI is very much interested in like how you delivered some tangible and intangible targets to the organization via your portfolio. So include that as well. Avoid copy pasting the standard statements in your application, and try to try to give as many examples as possible. Like wherever you are claiming something that you have done this role in the portfolio management, just give an example, because as many examples you are going to give related to your portfolio, as much you would be owning that application, and you are like not just copy pasting stuff from internet or from standard. If you are going to do that, your application is going to be definitely rejected, because those people who come to me for the correction of their application, when I have a look at their application, I get to know that it's just a copy paste of the standard or like statements from the internet. So they can easily get that, they can easily catch that, right? It should be coming from you. It should be coming from your real experience when you are writing the application, be it for PMP, be it for PgMP, or be it for PfMP. Yes, Shehbaaz.
Just adding to a point, the most important thing here is transforming your knowledge, your experience into pointers that is required in the application. Right? You cannot fake it, you cannot copy it. So it's very important that you restrict your experience in 500 words, right? And then make it data driven, make it knowledge driven, make it KPIs driven, and so on. So that is where it's very important for application people who are doing it themselves or people who are driving it through, let's say, to any other service providers. But this is important that just just relate your knowledge into the different domains which will qualify you for that certification.
Yes, and one more point in this regard, which I come across when people come to me, at times they get application from some other members who have done their PfMP and they have their application PDF with them. They try to just copy paste and just changing the name of the portfolio in that application. So for your information, PMI keeps a track of submitted and approved application. They match your application with previous applications as well. They have their softwares and system available, so they can easily catch, like in seconds they can catch that this is a copy pasted application, right? So either get some help from an expert, or if you're writing it yourself, just be very careful, right? Okay, so Shehbaaz, the next question for you is, how did you find the mentoring that I provided and the material that I provided to you for preparation and like the mock exams and the slide decks and the training sessions? Like, how did you find that? And did you refer anything else other than the material that I provided to you for PfMP exam preparation?
No, I did not refer to any other materials other than what you provided and going through the standard edition. Uh, it's a huge document. I think it's more than 50 pages. Right. Your materials were all summarized. I think that is what helped people who have gone through your training can vouch for. Right. Call it explaining the domain, they call it understanding the entire flow of the inputs, outputs, and how the different techniques goes on explaining or focusing on the key, I would say the key techniques, and then relating it to the overall processes. I think your material really helped, and you try to go on Google and try to find it, you won't. If you try and read the standard edition, you'll understand that, okay, Tooba is actually focused on the right pointers, else you have to go through the 250 pages.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you, Shehbaaz. And Shehbaaz, one more thing. How many times did you do those mocks that I have provided to you for preparation? Because at times people ask that as well, that what is going to be the right number? How frequent we should be, like keep on doing that. So what do you say in that? I think you just did that once or twice, not more than that.
No, I think the mock that you provided as a part of the Ontime consulting papers, right? There's a paper 1 and
Yeah.
paper 2. That really helps you to warm up of your learning, right? And try to relate to a lot of things. I did that twice, each paper. That takes around like 3 hours if you really focus. And the other papers that I did, for example, Leafy's paper, right? So the moment I completed yours, I started with Leafy's and I completed it in 2.5 hours and scored 85%. I was so happy. I think, what, I'm actually doing good. And when I did the second paper, it was 3 hours, but scored approximately 80%. Then I did the PgMP, right? And that made me realize that there's a lot of things I need to do, right? So because
you got that reality check after PgMP.
That was a shocker. So it completed like 3.5 hours and I scored like 65%. I was like, okay, there are a lot of things to learn. So it really depends, but I try to do all your papers and try to do it more than once, of course. And review others that you recommended only, if you're scoring low, for example, go with Waleeds or go with Dharams and others, right? But I think it's more than enough to go through what you recommend as a part of the step-by-step guide. That is more than enough. But make sure that I suggest people to once you go through it, take a look at the standard edition. And I know it's 250 pages, people might not like it, but focus on the key pointers that you should be related to the domain.
Yes, and those who are interested, the Ontime's PfMP question answer banks are available on Udemy as well. So if you are not my student, if you are my student, you are going to get that free of cost. But if you are not my student, you can go for that as well. And I have maintained a 5/5 rating on the Udemy for my mocks. So I'm offering it at the discounted price for all the audience of this webinar. If you want, you can go with this coupon link that I've shared over the chat area. So Shehbaaz, moving forward, there's a very usual question. Probably you would come across that as well in your professional circle, and I come across that probably every other day. People come to me and ask me that why would I invest in PfMP? Like my time, my money, my commitment, and why would I prioritize it, and why would I consider it as a career goal for me? So how would you like to suggest them that how you are going to see the payback or the return on this investment of time and your financials and your you have deprioritized multiple things to get done with this. So how would you see the return on investment in this case?
Right. See, First of all, PfMP is one of the top-notch certification, right? It gives you a different level. People start seeing you, respecting your time that you have invested in this certification. Right? It's not just a certification that can be done in a day or two or a week or two. That requires a lot of time to go through materials, understand different level of practices recommended, used in the industry. So you go through a lot of examples and you spend time and money to complete it. And then most importantly, when you try to look at your career, right, that is important when you try to see an ROI to it. If I am doing a PfMP, there are two things that really I look forward to. One is the commercial aspect to it, how I'm doing better in my future. The number two is how do I implement my learning into my current organization or the future organization work with. I have that dedication in mind, right? I want to implement my learning, with my organization. That's my ROI, right? And if I'm improving the processes, I think nothing like it. Commercially, you may get a return that year or whatever, coming forth. So they could be a short term or long term, but there is an ROI.
Yeah, and everyone's written definition is different. To be very honest, some people see that like from the commercial angle that okay, after PfMP probably I'm going to get a raise or a promotion, or probably I'm going to get a new job in the market, and some people just see that as an improvement of their own professional aspect, and some people like just want to learn the right way of doing things, and they just want to do everything in the right manner, and there are the different perspectives. However, I would like in all of the cases I would say one thing, that with these certifications, and if you're doing that in the right manner, not just like to earn the credential, like your thing after you are done with that, you would start standing out in the market, in your organization, in your day-to-day conversations with your colleagues and with your professionals. They would start respecting you more. They would start considering you more in the conversations, and you would start seeing the results that you are being heard, you are being recognized, you are being promoted, maybe not like the level promotion, but probably you are going to get some good work, some good opportunities to work to improve the organizational processes. And this is what I consider as value addition to your own self and to the organization. And this is where these certifications help. And as far as the commercial aspect is concerned, I personally feel that commercial aspect follows that. Like you do not need to like just you do not need to follow that. It is going to follow you, like maybe like right after the certification, maybe 2 months after, maybe 6 months after, but it's going to happen. So please do not go after the financial aspect and do not relate it to the certification. Just try to improve yourself and your organization with these certifications, and the rest would definitely follow, right? Okay, so the last question for you, probably it's not a question. It can be anything that you would like to. So, what would you like to give the advice to the aspirants or those who are aspiring for PfMP, and those who are actively preparing for PfMP, and those probably who are just thinking about moving to this career? What would you like to advise to them?
Right. So first of all, I would advise to the people who are currently going through the training and are looking to get certified and come to the elite club. Number one is for people who are going through Tooba, go to the materials. The articles are amazing. They're very well built to make you help understand the entire course. Focus on the materials. Like once you complete the session, revise it, just look at it. If you don't want to go through the video, at least you have the materials to have a quick look, and it should not take more than 30 minutes or one. Focus on the mock test. Try to apply your practical experience, but as a portfolio manager, not like a practical experience to what you're doing, what you see around the organization, where you see a correction, right? What would you do as a portfolio manager? So that will really help. And people who might be doing it standalone, not through a consultancy, right? If you may have the standard edition, go through it, just give some break and understand the 5 different domains that are critical and the questions are going to come from that. And those areas are the one that you're applying practical experiences in your organization. You cannot go green on all the areas when you start working in the organization. There are domains that you have to expertise on, right? You have to get your expertise on, and then you try to implement it, learn it. So I think the entire journey is going to be very exciting. A lot of roller coasters, but yeah, it's going to be wonderful.
Thank you so much, Shehbaaz, for joining us and sharing your wonderful journey and experiences with all of us. I'm very grateful to you, and I'm getting a lot of questions from the audience. So let's move to the question answer session and see that what they are asking. So I have got the first question from Sabir. What would we read most when looking at the questions at that exam? So he's asking like, which are the areas which are like super important for the exam, or probably if you refer the standard, which areas or which processes they should be more focusing on? The answer to that is all the processes. You are going to get questions from all the processes, but there are going to be some important topics, probably which, so there are some topics like authorized portfolio area, or probably the efficient frontier, or there are other tools and as well, like Monte Carlo analysis. You are going to get for sure 3 to 4 questions from all of these topics. So probably Shehbaaz can tell you some important areas, but you are supposed to be reading all the processes and everything that is covered in the exam. So Shehbaaz, what would you like to say?
First of all, go through, you're right, going through all the domains that are important, but at the same time, try to understand the tools and techniques which are used on around multiple domains. Right? For example, there can be the capacity and capability analysis, like Tooba said, around the quantitative and qualitative analysis.
Yes.
Where are they followed? These are very important. I think strategic management is important. Governance is important. Everything is important here. So if I press on something right now, will not do a right justice. But it is important to go through the tools and techniques and try to analyze it. Where it's actually applied, right? Try to give you a lot of idea. Every tools and techniques at different stages plays a different role, right? A SWOT analysis in your performance plays a different role than it plays in the governance, right? So you have to go through and analyze and understand that. But don't leave any of the, don't give less importance to one domain. Give importance to all.
Yeah, and probably while you are learning all of this, you will get an idea that probably they are going to ask you the very straight questions from tools and techniques or input output. No, it's not going to happen. They are going to put you in like real life scenarios, and they would give you like very good brain teaser so that you apply your critical thinking to all the concepts that you have learned, which apparently seems very straightforward, that okay, this is the input, this is the tool and technique, this is the output. But in the exam, it's not like in a very childish way. They are not going to ask that, okay, what is the tool and technique of this process? No, it's not going to happen this way. But yes, to answer the questions that they ask, you need to be knowing the right like processes, like the right input tools and techniques and output, and their right connectivity. And at times the processes are interrelated as well. So at times they are connecting 2 to 3 processes in one question as well, and that gives you like a brain teaser that, okay, are they really asking about the communication, or are they talking about the risk, or are they talking about the governance? So that is like something that they want to see in the exam, that application of the concepts.
Right. So yeah. So my 2 cents for me here would be, don't mug up things. It's not going to help. There are no straight questions. They're not going to be a question where somebody's asking you to define tools and techniques. Somebody's asking you where this tool and technique fits, right? The questions are going to be, I wouldn't say confusing, but you will have to understand key words in the question that you can relate to what you have learned, right? That's how you will be able to judge and get to the right answer.
Yes, so connecting the right keywords, the right terminologies, and just understanding the perspective and putting you in that scenario, and with your experience and with the concept that you have gained in the class, all of that like comes into picture when you are answering a single question in the exam. So Saqib has asked multiple questions. So first question from him is, how many questions in the real exam were out of the standard? in terms of percentage, and how many were numerical? This is, I think, a good question, that how many were out of the standard, because this is like true. Not everything is coming from the standard. Around 90 to 95% would be coming based on the standard based knowledge, but some things are going to be out of the standard as well, and that we cover in the mock exams. So what would you say, Shehbaaz? What was your experience? How many questions did you find out of the standard?
I agree with you. I think 90 to 95% of the times, the questions are coming from the standard itself. But yeah, you will find some questions coming not from the books. You just have to analyze it, understand it, and accordingly answer it. The mocks that you do, if you're expecting those questions for real exam coming from the mocks, that's not going to happen. I would say 5 to 15% are only the times when you find the mocks questions coming, but those are not like a copy or replica questions. They're gonna be building a different story to it, but the angle remains the same.
Right. And what about the numerical based questions? Because definitely they are going to be between 5 till 7 or 8 questions in the exam, which are like approximately, which are going to be composite index or CPI and the multi-criteria scoring model and those techniques. So what was your experience? Did you find that easy or difficult?
No, I think I had a different experience here. The numerical question that you, or the table question that you are doing in the mocks, right? So I think I gotten up to 5 or 6 questions, but those were not, concept remained the same, but the way it was presented was different. It was understood. You had to spend some time on getting it. A recommendation is just to note down the kind of table you're getting it, right? Just note down the numbers that you're formulating to, and that will be reused on a different question. It never happened with me. But yeah, you did get questioned, but because the concepts were clear, you were able to answer. I was able
But
to.
I usually have got this feedback from the students who are done with this, that numerical questions, if with the right practice, they are not difficult to crack in the exam. They are the in most of the cases they are the easiest one to crack in the exam. But you need to practice that. You need to practice that. And our mocks, as well as there are other mocks as well, that provide very good numerical based and calculation based questions for PfMP. So just with the right practice, you will be easily able to do that. Yes, so another question from Sakib is that, and which is a very good question. At times I get this question, that which mock test you, like Shehbaaz, you found near to the real exam, and that helped you most in the exam?
Yeah, as I said, it was just 5 to 15% that was applicable to at least my exam. That's my experience.
So you did not find any mock near to the real exam. It was like just a concept.
It was a mixture. I would say it's a mixed bag. Of Ontime, PgMP 30, and then VT paper. I did not explore a lot of books or something in the market, right? And because I was really focusing on few things, and I was focusing on the standard paper and the materials. So it was a mixed bag, I can call it. I cannot call one paper where it was relevant to the exam, and I hardly got 5% or 10% of the same question.
Okay, so Sakib again is asking that which domain you find that like you found the most trickiest in the exam out of the 5 domains. This is actually an interesting question. I would like to know that as well. So if you ask me, based on my PfMP exam experience, in my case, it was communication. I always found communication related questions very tricky in the exam. Some people say governance. Some people, like these days, for the past 2 to 3 months, my students like used to say that governance questions they found like really tricky in the exam. In my time, it was communication. At times, people say performance related questions they find tricky as well. So, Shehbaaz, what was your experience?
In my experience, governance was tricky. Some part of strategic management as well, but I would say governance to give the right weightage. Communication, I think that was not confusing to me, because I really focus on those subjects where I was initially being told that okay, communication becomes very, very confusing. So I really focus on the weak areas, and that really helped me to crack that particular jar. So I would say majorly governance.
Governance, yes, because these PMI keeps on updating and changing the questions in their question answer bank. So these days, people usually are finding it difficult to get above target in governance management area in PfMP. And this has happened to like multiple students in the past 2 to 3 months. So I believe these days the governance questions are pretty tricky, and the governance is the area in the standard which is the longest one as well, like with the maximum number of processes and with the maximum number of content as well. So I have a few questions from Gulzar Sahab. Gulzar Sahab are asking for is stakeholder engagement not a domain in PfMP? Would you please restate all the domains of PfMP? Yeah, so it's not stakeholder engagement, which is a domain. It is a communication management, which is a domain. Stakeholder engagement is a domain in PgMP. So communication management deals with everything about the stakeholders and communicating with each other and sending the right information to the right audience at the right time, and certain artifacts like stakeholder register, stakeholder metrics, communication metrics, and stakeholder engagement strategy metrics. All those things related to the stakeholder and communication and sharing the information to the right audience comes under communication. And other than communication, we have strategic management, we have governance management, we have performance management and risk management domains in the PfMP. Then there is one more question from Gulzar Saab that so this is a question for you, Shehbaaz. What was the concept relevance ratio of Ms. Tooba Mirza mocks with real exam in your examination? So he wants to know that how relatable you found my mocks in the exam, in your real exam.
So, as I said, I did a lot of mocks, right? It was not a replica, but the concept remains the same. So if you do the mocks, one thing, let me clarify this in a different way. What you study in the sessions, right? You go through a lot of materials. When you go through the mocks, you join the dots.
Yes.
Right? It's kind of warming you up of what you have studied. So mandate, go for Ontime, the mocks. That's going to challenge you to understand and kind of challenge yourself of, yes, what I've done, I'm able to relate to it. Right? It's going to confuse you, it's going to shake you, but it's going to get you the right track. So it is important. I cannot relate it to the life exam, but that will help you prepare yourself for the life exam. If you don't do that, you might be missing on something.
And yes, one more thing, Gulzar Saab and the rest of the audience that I would like to highly focus on is when you are preparing and when you are doing the mock exams, just do not only focus on the correct answer, or also focus on the wrong answers and to get to know that why they are wrong in this scenario, because that is going to give you a lot of context and understanding and connectivity with the concepts as well. And that is something that I highly focuses on in my own mocks. Probably not the other providers highly focus on that area. They usually give you the correct answer and the explanation of why the correct answer is correct. But at times I've seen providers that that do not highly focuses on the wrong questions and the explanation of why the wrong answer is wrong. But I do that because I personally feel that until and unless you do not tell your students that why the wrong choices are wrong and why the right choices are right, probably they are able to understand that question, but they are going to get it wrong in the in some other questions moving forward. So that is also one thing that we focus on in our mocks, we highly focuses on, and I do offer training of the concepts like for these 5 domains, as well as I do offer exam prep sessions as well as part of my training package, where I try to put my students and try to establish their mindset for the exam. Like those sessions are only focused with that agenda, that we try to help them wearing that PMI hat, and we try to put them in the exam environment. So at times that helps as well. I don't know what Shehbaaz has to say in that regard, but my other students mentioned that those sessions for the exam preparation like help them in beginning their exam preparation journey, and like collecting the right context for the exam.
Okay, what I'll suggest is it's good to get your answers wrong, because that will really help you. correct get the concepts right. So it's not that you are wrong. It's just like the way you're thinking about the answer is not the right way. You have to again think from the portfolio manager's account. Tuba's one thing good about the mocks that Tuba shares is the explanation. Right? So whenever I was wrong to answer it, I never felt bad. It helped me to understand why I was wrong and then correct my concepts of if I could have thought about through a portfolio manager's role, yes, it feels right here. At the same time, the sessions that happens where Tuba is gonna take you through the questions and answers with a group. I think you all the group will start challenging those questions. I think that is very important. That needs to happen.
Yes, that's true. And with that, we are done with our today's session. Thank you very much, Shehbaaz, for joining and for sharing such good suggestions and your experiences with us. And yeah, I have one news for the audience, which is that PMI has actually given a discount to, like, that is a global discount, like that's a worldwide discount on the PMI certifications. I don't know like how long it is valid, but the PfMP certification is being offered by PMI for the members in $569 and for the non-members in $669. Probably this is a limited time offer, or probably this is like for a longer span of time, because PMI usually do not declare the time period. So if you are aiming for your certification, maybe this is a good opportunity for you to get it done in a pretty less price, because the usual price for PfMP certification worldwide is $800 for members and $1,000 for non-members. So at the very least, you are going to get $260 discount with this package. And if you are willing to get in your PfMP with us, our next PfMP program is starting from 11th February. If you are willing to explore that, please connect with me. I've shared my communication channels with you over the chat. And you can find me on LinkedIn as well, and you can connect with me over there as well. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining, and stay blessed. And in case of any project, program, and portfolio management suggestion and consultancy, you can connect me anytime on my business number as well as on the LinkedIn. Thank you again, Shehbaaz. Do you want to say anything in the end, or we are about to wrap up?
No, I would just thank you for the opportunity. And good luck to all the other people who are preparing for either the PMP or PgMP or PfMP certification. Best of luck to them. And in case if I can be of any help, please reach out to me.
Yes, please reach out to us, and feel free to ask for any support or advice. Thank you very much. Take care. I will come back with a new webinar very soon. Take care. Bye.
Thanks. Bye-bye.